Right, in this video we're going to look at a few more angle facts that we need to know for our GCSE exam. And these are angle facts to do with parallel lines. Now, before we do look at parallel lines, we're just going to have a look at an angle problem to do with vertically opposite. Where we've got this angle, we might know as 120, and the angle directly opposite is also 120. Likewise, if we know these two are 120, we can find these two other bits, because we know from the previous video that angles around the point add up to 360 degrees. So if we add 120 and 120, we get 240 degrees. So that's up to 306, that's 120. And we need to split that over two angles, so 120 divided by 2 is 60 degrees. Another way of looking at this is if we just look at this section here, we have a straight line. So if we know one side of it's 120, we need to add 60 to get up to 180 degrees, which is on a straight line. So vertically opposite angles are the same. Right, now we're going to look at parallel lines. Now we know that these two lines are parallel by the fact that we've got these arrows on the end, and that indicates that these two are parallel lines. Now there's something special about these parallel lines. We've got a line that intersects or cuts through these parallel lines, and when we've got that, we only ever need to know two angles, an acute one and an obtuse one. And all the acute ones are all going to be the same value. And remember, acute is less than 90. And all the obtuse ones are also going to be the same. So where we've got a line intersecting or crossing a pair of parallel lines, we need to know two angles, the acute one and the obtuse one. Now some people like to label on their diagram all the angles. So if we knew what this acute one was, they might label all the acute ones with the same value and then label all the obtuse ones with the same value. But there is a slightly easier and quicker way of doing this. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to, instead of labelling them all, we're going to look carefully at this part here. We look across there and down there and across there, we notice that these two angles here are the same, and they are on the opposite side of our line cross through. They're on the alternate side, which is another way of saying opposite, and those two angles are the same. Likewise, if we went the other way and went down like that, we can see that these two angles are also on the opposite side of the line and are the same. So alternate angles, unfortunately we can't call them Z angles, which you might have done at Key Stage 3. Alternate angles are the same. Right, there's another fact that we can look at from that, and it's called corresponding. So this here we know is an obtuse angle, and this one is an obtuse angle, and we're right now on the same side of our intersecting line, and we've got the obtuse one. So these form an F, which is called a corresponding angle, and corresponding angles are the same. So corresponding angles are the same. Now we're going to try and use those two facts we've just learned and apply them to a question and try and give the reasons why something is the case. So if we highlight on here our angle that we've got and draw a line up and go to the angle that we're looking for, you'll see that we've formed a Z. And from before, we should know that this Z is what's called an alternate angle. and these two angles are going to be the same. So x is equal to 67 degrees because they are alternate. They are alternate. And if we do the same on the second, alternate, and if we do the same on the second example and draw a line where our 140 is and carry it on down to where we're looking for, we'll see that it forms an F shape. And F shapes are corresponding angles and they're the same. So x in this case is equal to 104 degrees because they are corresponding. Now, as we mentioned before in the last video, it's really important that you give the reasons why in exams. So why and how you got the answer. So you must learn the two words alternate and corresponding.